What's up, y'all? Welcome to Paralyzed Podcast, Season 2, Episode 1. We're back, baby. We live, baby. We live.
Yeah, we're here in the new year, 2025.
That's already started with some shit, but that's okay.
Ain't
That's
no
okay.
way. Ain't no way. It's only like the second weekend. Barely, yeah, barely.
Exactly. And most of LA is on fire. They're
Oh,
trying to take down
yeah.
this fucking app. Like, we're getting a new presidency, the Trump administration of all of them.
I forgot about all that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's crazy,
It's a
actually.
bang. It's a bang. It's been a bang. And I think maybe I did forget because it's not here that the fires are happening.
Mhm.
And that's a misfortunate. Well, in the sense that I forgot. But then,
Well, I mean,
yes.
that's fair. Like, that's just a moment of like checking your privilege. Like, damn, we aren't facing a life-threatening fire. You know what I mean? Which is like gratitude, but
Thank
also my
you.
heart goes out. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I
All right,
forgot about
y'all,
this
grab
man.
y'all snacks. Huh?
No, this man's my snack. I already ate lunch because I was starving, but I got popcorn right here and it's tempting me. But New Year, nothing bad, bad.
That's not bad. That's
It's
a
not
frame of
bad,
mind.
but it's okay. It's not bad, but it's not aligned with my goals. Not aligned with my goals.
Period. Period. I like that reframing. I got some chai tea today. The colors today are red and purple, if you couldn't tell. I don't own any red clothes for real. Like I probably own two articles of red clothes. These are both tailors. The
Ah,
sweater and the sweatpants I got on girlfriend's closet. Got my chai tea and a nasty ass protein bar, bro.
I think that's the only good brand though up in Trader Joe's. Like that's the pretty considerably decent one. If it looked like what I think it is, no, I lied. I lied. Sorry.
This
From a
shit is
distance.
disgusting, nasty. I have yet. What is the brand that you're talking about? Because I have yet to find a good
I
protein
think it
bar
starts with
brand.
like a B or a C. I'll see if I can find it because that's the only one that I like. Like it's the
What,
only
the
one that's
Cliff
actually
Bar?
no. Cliff is
Oh,
nasty. It's some brand that I only discovered at Trader Joe's. I've never seen a day in my life. Only at Trader Joe's. I don't know if they sell them everywhere, but it's actually good. They have a cookies and cream one.
yeah.
Mm,
Are you talking about the Z bars?
no, not that brand.
Okay. Then I have no fucking clue what you're talking about. Okay, cool. Good, I'll try it because I've tried so many different types of. They're so nasty, dude. They're so nasty. I can't get through a whole bar in one
That
sitting. Like I'll probably get through half of this, and the rest
yeah.
has to be tomorrow.
See, but that's how I feel about like protein shakes, like the powder. Like I haven't found one that I can actually drink. Like I bought like a chocolate peanut butter one and it's okay, but like I'm like, this is not chocolate. This is not peanut
Bro,
butter. And I'm like,
exactly.
and I
Bro,
just
exactly. That shit does not taste anything like what they're advertising. Also, like,
no.
I'll eat this shit because, like I said, I can only get through half of it, but I'll also try to pair it with something like my coffee or a chai, like I have now, just to like wash the taste out. Bro, as soon as
Mm-hmm.
I take a sip of my drink, it goes back into powder form in my mouth. It's
Ew.
fucking disgusting. I only have like one more bar after this. I'm so excited, so I can be done with it. Cause, but yo, I got goals. I gotta get my gains, get my muscles, man.
Me. I'm trying. Like I'm really trying, but I swear I be hungry all the fucking time and I want everything. Everything.
That's good. That means you need to eat in order to build your muscle because you're tearing your muscle as you're building it. And so you eating is trying to repair the muscles that you're building, which actually grows your muscle. Also, let's not forget that like women, we don't go on the cycle as men. We're not a 24 cycle
That's true.
being. We're a 28 cycle being, give or take. And that means we're needing different hormones at different times to keep us balanced, which is what you
Mm-hmm.
could be craving. You could do the research of what's underneath that to learn what you're needing. For example, let's say you're craving mad like salty chips. What you're craving is salt. And the reason you're craving that is probably because you're dehydrated. You're not retaining water. Salt actually helps you to retain water, etc. Like there's a whole bunch of if you're craving chocolate, which we do when we're on our cycle, it's
Mm-hmm.
because you're craving magnesium. Magnesium helps you when you're losing a lot of blood because what you're losing in your blood, essentially, give or take, are proteins, yes, and also magnesium. So you have to
Mm-hmm.
find out what's underneath that craving. No, that's what I was saying earlier, what I was alluding to. Like, it's not bad. It's probably something you're wanting from in there that, like,
Mm-hmm.
we don't get from its, like, actual source anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I've been trying to give myself grace because like yes, I know like cookies and stuff like that, like sweets, but I know it they be saying it's like yes to like an underlying thing, but sometimes more like emotional. Like
That
we're
too,
emotional
yeah.
eaters. So it's just like trying to I
Yeah.
take that pause now where I'm like, if I want a cookie, what do I really need right now? And now that's why now I be using the journal app on my phone. I'd be like, I'm feeling this way. Imminent. Take a sip of water, and then I'm like, okay, I actually don't need that.
Fact. And that's another thing though. Like that's another thing. You might need water when you're getting a hunger cue. Your body could
Oh,
be
that's
trying
true
to tell you
too.
that it's dehydrated, but
Yeah.
actually, you're perceiving it a different way. I do think that's a healthy tip of like, let me just check what this is where this is actually coming from. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's great. Fun fact though, a lot of not everyone's an emotional eater. That's actually a form of ED. That's a form of eating disorder. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so ED trigger a warning.
I didn't
But
know.
yeah, yeah. That's
Um,
not that's a it's a coping mechanism.
yeah.
And it's a form of ED. So editing, Imani. I want to say that binge eating is or can be a form of ED, but it also can be a coping mechanism. I don't know if that would be considered a maladaptive coping mechanism, depending on how bingeful the binging is. But I fact checked myself. Wanted to make sure I wasn't giving out misinformation. Yes, thank you. That's something to look into also.
Okay. Wow.
Because if you binge, like if you have a binging ED, you probably also have an excessive restrictive ED to go along with it because it's like the give and take, it's the roller coaster.
Yeah.
So binge, restrict. So yeah, that could be something to look into.
Sounds like it.
Which is actually right on brand because what we're talking about today, folks, if you couldn't tell from the title, is body image issues, body image in total, the Ozempic
Oh,
pandemic. No, not pandemic, epidemic,
epidemic.
the
Yeah.
Ozempic scare. That whole thing. We're talking about our relationship to food and kind of where that stemmed from, and to keep it as light as possible. Yes, we got some coloring therapy going on to help ground us in this conversation. But before that, you want to give us a check-in? How's life been? We haven't talked in weeks on the
Yeah.
podcast. Let the girlies know. The girls, the gays, the days. Period.
The all of the above. Alrighty, where we at? We're in like today's Tuesday, second week of this new year. It's been going
Mhm.
good. Like, I don't know, I feel like I'm feeling ready for what's ahead. I also still feel like this month or at least a few weeks still feels kind of like setting my foundation. Like I'm still building my blocks, like placing them down and like getting myself set for what's to come.
Yeah.
I think I'm feeling good in the sense that I've had a lot of like reframing of my mind and like identity. I think that's why I chopped my hair off too. I was just like, okay, like who am I? What are we doing? Something got to change here.
Yeah.
Um, so it's been, I think, like a lot of internal stuff, a lot of like redoing, undoing, relearning, like just reprogramming. Like I feel like I'm a computer being rebooted and I'm just trying to
Period.
figure it out, like what's going on, what's my next steps, what needs to change, what's coming. Um, so yeah, it just feels very much like a hermit. Like I've been hermit mode. Yeah, because
Yeah.
like even this past Sunday was the first time I've seen Johnny since our New Year celebration. So
Yeah.
that's how I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, like I know it's been real. Like I've been super low key, but yeah, I think to sum it up, things have been good. Everything else is a-okay. Nothing too
Period.
exciting.
I mean, this all sounds exciting. Yeah, y'all missed it when we first hopped on the call before we click record. We were going through oh my god, you chopped in here. And that was fun. I was telling Daisy that she looks like a cutie patootie. If you agree, tell her she looks like a cutie patootie. I'm so fucking for real. It's funny too because I had recently cut off a whole bunch of dead ends and it made my hair shorter than I wanted to be, and I had a little bit of a a moment because I'm on the opposite end of you. I'm trying to grow my hair. I'm
Wow.
trying to be I'm trying to be like second grade Imani where my hair was to my ass. I think that's the last time my hair has ever been that fucking long. Because I've dyed it, I've cut it a lot, I've done a lot of shit to my hair. I went through the whole like over straightening your hair phase. I went through the over product your hair phase. I've gone through all the fucking phases of my hair. And so finally I'm like, okay, let's see if we can get that length again. And everyone has what's called a termination length. So like as soon as your hair gets to that length, it'll naturally kind of just stop itself. And the way to get your hair past that is doing like excessive like scalp massaging, trying to get like seals. There's like it's a product to seal your ends to
Oh
keep it
shit.
from splitting, like shit like that. Doing micro trims, like you have to do mad work to get your hair past that termination length. And I think I created a new termination length for myself over the years of like over processing it and doing a whole bunch of shit that I probably shouldn't have. And so I'm trying to grow it, bro. I've been trying to grow it for fucking ever. And my termination length right now is like it's typically right about here. That's when
Okay.
I can't grow it past that. And so that's obnoxious because it's gonna take a lot of work to get it past that. But bro, when I tell you I was cutting all the dead ends because I haven't been trimming it as much as I'm supposed to, and I've been doing a lot of slick back tight hairstyles. So I was cutting the dead ends, and I finished, and I was like, I'm not gonna cry. It's gonna grow back. I'm not gonna cry. It's hair. It's hair. Mind you, this is from someone who's just all that bitch off.
Yes.
But it's different when you have a goal. Like it's like I want to see this thing come into, and you know I'm a little bit of a control freak, a little bit of a perfectionist. So like it's really my attachment to the goal that I was like hurting. I was like, damn, bro. But you know, it looks healthier than it did. So like,
I was gonna say
so
it looks, yeah, like voluptuous and like full. Like it does look long. This is, I think, the longest I've seen you here in a while, in a
yeah,
hot minute.
no, for real, for real, for real.
Yeah.
That's facts. But I want it to be longer. I want it to be longer. I want to give mermaid. I want to be able to put my hair across my titties and just, and,
Yes.
just be like, I'm so feminine. I'm giving nymph. I'm giving forest goddess. That's what I want to give. But
I felt that. Yeah. But then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do the chop and then I'll go to the goddess voluptuous fairy tale living.
no, I love it though because you did the chop for like it was more than just like an aesthetics thing. It was like deeper than that, which I
Yeah.
appreciate. I appreciate
Mhm.
that. Excuse me, sorry guys. Bro, I've been mad like gassy recently. My video face. um so what's my updates? Let's see. Nasty ass protein bars, trying to get on my protein gains for sure. Having great results with tracking my fitness goals with my cycle,
Okay.
which I love. Actually, it's funny. One of my older friends back in the day hit me up and was like, "Bro, I love your body. Send me your workout routine." I said, "Bet." Or like there was like, "What do you do in the gym?" Some shit like that. And I was like, "Listen, I really go in there and I pick up weights and I put them down. I don't know what the fuck I be doing in there, okay? I pick them bitches up and I put them bitches down, and then I look and I'm like, look at you." But I sent her like I added her onto my notes app where I keep all of my workouts and stuff. Like
Okay.
I like write the whole plan down for the day. So I added her in that. I hope she uses it because there's a lot of great stuff in there. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I could do this my way. I can, like, get
Yeah.
to my fitness goals in, like, a slow, intentional way versus, like, trying to follow, again, a male's body and just go, 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 go. I don't fuck with that. But it's nice seeing my body, like, slowly change. And I think because I'm doing it slower, it allows me to actually see the difference
Hmm.
because which we'll talk about in a bit, do struggle with body dysmorphia. So I don't know what my body actually looks like most of the time. We've talked about this in way earlier
Yeah.
podcast episodes. But because I'm doing it in such a slow and intentional way, and the progress is slow, it's like incremental, I can actually see the changes, and it's
Wow.
blowing my fucking mind. And it's great too because I feel like this is the first time I've been able to see my body accurately in a long fucking time. So that's great, and not just through like looking at a picture and being like, oh shit, she was cute back then, like because
Yeah.
in that way I can see me very well. What else? Older girlies are moving over to a Red Note, which is
Just that.
so we all know that TikTok is pending a ban.
Yeah.
And basically we're up to the Supreme Court and they get the final decision on whether or not this ban is constitutional. And they're doing it based off of our First Amendment rights, which are freedom of speech, which is
Hmm.
one of the ones that are more well known. Let's not be confused. If they do say that they can ban this app, that will be the clearest evidence that we live in a fascist regime that will no longer be disputable the way it was before. But like I'm just gonna say that plainly. Anyways, the girlies are in the TikTok app have orchestrated a rebellion against the US by driving massive hordes of people from TikTok, the US, American TikTok, to this note called the Red Note. Or in Mandarin, like the actual translation is like the Little Red Book, something like that.
Okay, I feel like I've heard of this.
Okay, so the funniest shit is, let me tell you what's gagging the girlies, okay? And by the girlies, I mean the U.S. government. I know they are gagged right now because their whole thing about banning the TikTok, it was under the guise of China has our data. This is a national
Yeah.
security breach, which we know is fucking bullshit. We know that's not the
Hmm.
real reason, right? But that's what they've been saying. As a form of protest, girlies from the US TikTok went to a Chinese app
I did hear
where
about this.
you have to go in and change the fucking language from Mandarin to English.
Hmm.
Except I heard that the creators of the app kind of made that automatic now because of how many people came over. And they're actively changing the app for us. There's a fucking hashtag over there that's American TikTok refugees, American refugees. Because that's how many people went over there. Mind you, the Little Red Book is a nod to communism. What does the US hate the absolute fucking most? Communism.
Yeah.
So, like, all of the years of propaganda against communism and against China as a whole, and the form of protest we chose was to go to an app that refers directly to communism and is a product of China. And I'm eating it up because I'm like, I saw this one video. It was like, the U.S. is petty as fuck. It's petty and dirty. But you know what? U.S. Americans or U.S. citizens, we're pettier. But I'm eating it up because I'm like, finally, we're doing something that's making some type of wave. Finally, we felt deeply enough about something that we're making a wave. But it's just hilarious to me that the thing that did it was TikTok. Like, that was the thing that moved you so deeply
An
that
app.
you said a big
Yeah.
ass fuck you to the government. And I just know that Marky Zuckerbergy is in his office shaking and shitting in his boots because his whole thing was like everyone's gonna end up on the Meta apps, everyone's gonna come back to Instagram.
No.
They rather go to a Chinese owned app than come to your shitty ass fucking apps, bro. And I know you're throwing up. I know you're gagging. Anyways, it's great. I love it. I love it so much. I'm definitely gonna download the app. I'm contemplating deleting my Instagram, like my personal Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, but I've been contemplating this for I feel like at least a year, and I have yet to do it. So we'll see if I actually do it this time
Okay.
around. Because I'm just like, one of the biggest lobbyists for this ban is Mark Zuckerberg, and it's because he wants to increase his stock accounts, like his stock prices. He wants to be
Yeah.
more profitable. And so in his mind, if he can bring all the TikTok users over to his apps, he'll make more money and more money for his stockholders, his investors.
Hmm.
And he's so money hungry that he's willing to overlook the actual people who are using his app, what they actually want, and also overlook our First Amendment and our freedom to speech and expression and all of those things. And that's just a different type of evil. And so I'm just like, actually, I should have deleted my Instagram when he was caught in Hawaii buying mass property, even though Hawaiians were saying, please stop doing this. And he just didn't give a fuck. Out there surfing, living his best life.
Yeah.
That's when I should have done it. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I do it. What else? I unlocked some new characters. I met some of Taylor's college friends this past weekend.
The fact that you call them characters, I'm over here like, you talking about Sims or something? Like, what you saying? Like, no, you talking about people, like humans.
Yes,
Actual. Oh.
I unlocked a new character in the sense that I unlocked a new episode, a new chapter, if you will.
Oh.
Yeah, because like every time you meet people from like your partner's past life, you unlock a different version of them because you see how they related to that group of people or that person, right? Because you're
Mm-hmm.
like, you get one version of them, you get the version of them
Yeah.
that's the most current, I think so. And then when you unlock the past, you're just like, oh,
Mm.
okay. Oh. And I just like, okay. That's kind of how I walked away from the situation. All right. Okay, hey.
know
Who am
what to
I to
ask or
judge?
how I want to ask a question because I don't. The body language is saying it all. So I was like, I don't even think I need to ask a question. But
My thing is like, you know. Anyways, oh,
I
Mike.
see. Yes.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see what the sound like. Imagine I'm like yelling in this bitch. None of my audio is usable because I'm just fucking screeching, and it's just rubbing on my sweater every type of way. Hopefully not, but like we'll see. We'll
It
see. This is
sounds
my
good
first
now.
time.
Yeah.
It does it.
Yeah, it sounds perfect. Like I don't hear any of the background fan noise, anything that we checked before. Like it's
Good.
just you. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. Everyone, we did say we'll have some technological updates this time around, and we will. Deja's is currently still on the way because as much as we love TikTok, it's fuck their shop. It's fuck the TikTok shop every other time. It's like the biggest hit or miss ever. Like you're either gonna struck gold or you're gonna get the worst like mess of a mess. I ordered for everyone listening. I ordered this and Deja's mic on the same day. On the same day. Literally minutes apart from each other. How is it that mine arrived and Deja's never even left Texas?
Yeah. Got stuck in
Like,
the snowstorm. That's why.
BS, bro. And so I had to cancel it, whatever. I put it in again. Bro, it wasn't trying to ship. For the fattest minute, it wasn't trying to ship. The day that I texted you, Deja, about it, I also text them. Like I sent to the shop a screenshot of the thing like hello, like type shit. And it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until then that I sent you. It shipped. Where
Oh.
is it this time? It's in New Jersey.
So, uh,
I don't know. I'm so confused because I was like, you were in Texas before, now you're in New Jersey. That's where you're shipping out of? Why are they so vastly different? Anyways, I have no fucking clue. I don't know. I don't know where this place is based out of. I just want you to get yours, and then we'll never touch this fucking this shop again. That's
hopefully,
it.
yes. Please.
Yeah, because I don't know what the fuck is happening. But once Deja has her little microphone thing, it's gonna be rap. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yay.
I'm fucking excited. I'm so excited for that. Let's see what else. Taylor did get their Christmas gift from their friends, and it was a telescope, and we got to see the moon. What was it, Monday?
Monday, yeah, the full moon, right?
Sunday.
Yeah.
No,
Sunday,
no, I think
Monday.
we went Sunday. One of those. And she's fucking gorgeous. She is literally beautiful. I'm in love with her. And I actually saw this the other day, this meme, and it was like, I worship the moon today, and that's why the sea hasn't consumed us. And that was us. That was literally us watching the moon, like, girl, you are so beautiful. Like, how you do that? So, go you, girl. Like, that is our girlfriend, actually. That is our girlfriend. We are in a polyamorous relationship with the moon. Don't ask any more questions. We're not ready to talk about it. But
Okay.
that was a lot of fun. And also, I've been in my cooking and baking bag. And you know me, I don't bake. I'm
No,
not a baking
which
girl. Okay? But tell me why I made this like little apple crumble something or whatever yesterday. Fucking delicious. One.
okay.
Two. Today I'm making an apple turnover. And in order to make that, you know what a puff pastry is?
Yes.
I just made my own puff pastry from scratch this morning.
Yeah, you a bacon girly because I will never. I just buy them ready to go. Thaw it out.
It was not fun. The texture was disgusting. Making that one. Two, you see my nails all up in my nails. Nasty. And like I was like, oh, the baby girlies are different. Y'all are different. Y'all like
It's like a
to have
mad
your fingers.
scientist, like, yes, all up in there
No,
doing it
what is
all.
that? Y'all
Yeah.
are just sensory girlies. The bakery girlies are just sensory girlies. I don't know if you remember, but like kindergartens and stuff like that, they have
Yeah.
like sensory bins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, y'all just never got over that. The bakery girlies never got over that, so now they bake. Because I was like, oh, this is too much. This is too much. But we're doing it. So I made the puff pastries at some point today. I'll make the rest of the apple turnover.
Mm-hmm.
Apple turnover.
I'm so excited.
It's the one with the apples in the middle. Whatever. I'm so excited too. But I've been in my bag, like I've been chefing it up. I've been real Puerto Rican up in here. Real Puerto Rican. I had yuca the other day, fucking shrimp with shrimp over it. You know what I mean? Like I've been
Okay.
and with pina colada on the side, I've been Puerto Rican. Okay. And now in my baking bag, so you can't tell me nothing. 2025, fuck the processed foods. I can make it from scratch. Slowly but surely. Slowly but surely.
I love that. There we go.
Thank you very much. Okay, guys. Let's switch over. All right.
Time to get serious.
Body image. Ozempic. The Ozempic Panorama Panini Press. No, I'm kidding. It's more of an epidemic press. I don't know how else I
Epidemic,
can.
epidemic, right?
It's more of an epidemic than it is a panorama, because it's really only, as far as I know, in the U.S. Um, but I wanted to start with the question of, okay, I wrote it down. Let me say how I wrote it down. How does what you heard and saw the most growing up, which is what your conditioning is, right? Because whatever you heard and saw most consistently growing up lodges into your brain,
Hmm.
affect your relationship with your body and to food now?
I think growing up in a Latino culture, I was often told not to really eat too much because you never want to be too on the chubby, thicker side. So like I remember very young, like they my grandmothers would be like, "Oh my God, you have like such nice legs, like you have such a nice like fatigue, like physique." And I'm like 12, I'm like 13, I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." Like it wasn't too
Mhm.
like in my face, but it was constant like reminders of like, "Don't eat too much." But then you'd go to certain other family members and they're like, "You need to finish your plate." So it was more of like a
Mhm.
it's either on each side. And there was no
Yes.
like, I'm actually this full, I'm done eating. Or like, I'm actually
Mhm.
hungry, I will eat now. Now it was like food's ready, you better eat it all. It's gone. Um, so where was it where I'm at now with that? Or like
Yeah,
just the
like
condition?
how does it affect your relationship to your body and food now?
So I think now I feel like I've gone through since being vegan to not vegan to like where I'm at now with it. I think I'm in a better spot, if I have to be
Mhm.
completely honest. And what I mean in a better spot is that, yes, I'm still eating in accordance, whether it's a cut or becoming leaner or whatever. Like, yes, there's a plan that I'm following. And yes, it is more wholesome food. So I do feel better in the long term. But on the
Yeah.
flip side, I think it's also still feeding into that thought process I had of like having to look a certain way. So I'm like, in order to eat this or be this way, I have to follow this. And I think that's why
Mhm.
I think it's we got it like earlier when I was like, that's bad. It's now I think
Yeah.
switching the program of like things that once brought me joy, whether it was a cookie, whether it was a sweet, whether it was whatever, is now
Yeah.
bad. Or I feel instant guilt for eating something that like I'm not
Mm.
quote unquote supposed to eat. We're okay. Like, I think I'm still trying to unpack the whole what a Latina woman is supposed to look like and not have it be on certain physiques or of like certain assets on the body as like the ideal or the way of being in a feminine body. Because I
Yeah.
think I also was getting caught up in that like storyline.
Yeah.
Um, so I think I'm honestly just trying to do a lot of unpacking and trying to get to a point where it's I just feel good in my body. Like nothing hurts. Like that's how I just want to be. Like I just want to feel good. I
Mhm.
just want to feel strong. Like I don't want to be like my ass is fat. I got a six pack. Like I'm feeling good. Look at my biceps. Like no, I just want to feel good. Like I just want to feel good.
Fair.
You know, same with food. Like I don't want something to be good or bad. Like especially cultural. Like I love my cultural food. Granted, I
Mhm.
don't do a lot of cooking of it due to being on this plan. So like yes, there is that like distance that's being formulated. So I do try to at least like when I get a cheat meal or cook a meal for me and Johnny, it's something that I think is like bringing me back to that. Or at least like I'm like, okay, like I can have like an actual meal, even though I feel like I do
Yeah.
eat, but it's not like a meal.
What do you mean? What do you mean with the food thing, the meal thing?
So what I mean is like I'll eat like I just ate before this and it was like greens, rice, steak, and like broccoli. Like that's a meal,
Mhm.
you know, but it's like I'm thinking more of like a arroz con gandules with like chicken and potato type of vibe. Like that's a
Mhm.
meal. Like that was dinner with an avocado piece on the side. Like okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So I'm not eating like that, but I'm still eating, I don't know, like a less sazon dressed down version of a meal, if
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Okay. Is the argument though that the latter or the former is more healthier than the latter?
I mean, yes and no. Like this is equally as healthy because I think cultural dishes are well equally as healthy if you ain't
Yeah.
using Goya stuff, y'all, because I don't know if you heard it, the Goya's killing us. But if you ain't doing stuff like that, then yes, I think it is equally healthy. It's just the flavoring, like you're getting all like the sensory experience of like your nose, your mouth, everything. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this only thing I look forward to is my rice because my rice smack and that piece of steak. Everything
Mhm.
else, bland, plain. Like, yeah.
Well, you can still season the food though. Like, okay, so like my thing is like this is gonna be a tangent. I'm sorry. But my
Okay.
thing is like I feel like a lot of the rhetoric around meals and what's nutritionally balanced is whitewashed. And let's not forget white people went around colonizers went around stealing seasonings and spices from other countries and was using it as a way of kind of marking class, like, oh, our food is so seasoned and stuff like that, and your food is terrible. And then once that became more accessible to everyone, their way of marking class then became we don't use spices. So in that like wanting to mark class system and wanting to be like we're so holier than thou because our food doesn't have spices now, and trying to like further the divide and separation between high class and low class, rich and poor, they forgot how to spice their foods. Like they erased that from their own history because they cared more about class system. Being able to use spices in your food is a form of chemistry. That is a form of science. Like you are quite literally an alchemist in your own kitchen if you know how to cook with spices. And so a lot of like our nutritional like a lot of the conversations around nutrition now are from the lenses of the colonizers.
Yeah.
It's often more healthier for our bodies to eat ancestrally because that's what our bodies are used to and know how to digest the most properly. And I do agree, there's a lot of companies that try to get us in that way, like Goya. We're like, oh, we have all the things y'all love. Meanwhile, they're putting terrible shit in it. But you can
Hmm.
also make sazon the
Oh
actual way
yeah.
from like scratch, shit like that. And it
Hmm.
has less sodium, it has less terrible shit in it. And like the meal that you said before, I agree. I think they are both equally healthy because the arroz con ganules, beans, legumes are extremely healthy for us. They're a form of protein as well. Then you had your protein, then you had your carbohydrates, which gives us energy, and then you had your healthy fat from the avocado. Like that was a well balanced meal, girl. That was
Yeah.
great. And you had the color and everything. And then also like the vegetables, I think they can be seasoned. I think you can add some salt and some pepper because again, salt retains hydration, it keeps hydration
Yeah.
and also allows you to get more of the nutrients of the food that you're taking, like the minerals and stuff like that because salt itself is a mineral, so it lets
Hmm.
you minerals as a whole allow you to absorb the nutrients of your food. It's just, then there's the process conversation about like iodized salt versus Celtic salt versus sea salt,
Oh
all
yeah.
of that.
Hmm.
That type of shit. And then there, of course, there's the conversation about black peppercorn and how that's the most inflammatory out of all the peppercorns and like using a different peppercorn. And I get there's so much nuance in the conversation, but I do feel like it's worth mentioning to anyone listening that most likely you're doing your best for your body by eating ancestrally versus eating through a colonizer whitewash lens type shit. Does that make sense?
That does make sense because I feel like this is like stuff I've heard recently more than not on the social medias trending, especially in the whole like health realm of stuff. And I think it's that idea of like stepping away from mainstream like health, that it's like a one box fits all. Like this is what everyone needs to be doing. Like this is the new fad, like a trend. But I think it's stepping back into your culture or at least like adopting where you came from, like embracing that and not thinking that that's the bad and that's the reason why so many X and Y factor people from whatever group it may be look a certain way because it's this diet. Like, no,
Mhm.
shifting that mindset and not thinking anything's good or bad, but like reframing it, adopting it, like you said, like maybe you ain't using Goya, maybe you're making it yourself, maybe you're doing
Yeah.
something different, but it's not that I think one way's better or worse than another, but I think it's just again like you said, that alchemizing in the kitchen. So I feel like that's a sense of also like cooking with like some love, like taking the care
Yeah.
in your food. Like, yes, it might not be a plate you grew up on. Maybe you're not able to eat a certain amount of rice or whatever it may be, but still like pouring some love up in there, like adding some seasoning, whatever may you can, and not thinking it just gotta be whipped up quick and done and out.
Facts. I also agree with the idea of reframing your mind from like working out for solely aesthetic purposes, which I don't think is a problem. Don't get me wrong, but like more so you can thrive in your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like what like you were saying, like I want to work out to feel good. Exactly. Like when we look at other cultures who still work in and with the land, they're extremely fit, extremely
Yeah.
resilient in their bodies because they work out through their lifestyle. So because we don't work out through our lifestyle anymore, we go to gyms. But I think we've lost for the most part, like you were alluding to, why you work out. The point is to live a long, healthy life. And again, I don't think that means not doing it for aesthetics. I think that's fine. But like, are you working out so you can carry all your groceries up the stairs the first time around? Are you working out so you can carry your shorty? Are you working out, like remembering like you enjoy working out the most when you do it for something you're actually passionate about, when you're doing it to actually thrive in your own life. I agree with that. And I think that's a really important reframing that will bring a lot more enjoyment to everyone's working out, like, or whatever the fuck. I agree. Agree. Bro, I'm watching this I'm really into like ancestral knowledge right now.
Hmm.
The book that I've been reading. At this point, it's not even just reading, I'm analyzing. That's more proper. But so I started this show called Ancient Apocalypse, which is less of a show and more of a docu-series.
Okay.
And it's really great. I can't, that would have to be a whole different podcast. But they had one episode on the Amazonian ancient like humans,
Yeah.
prehistoric humans, and they did one little section out of all of that to do a deep dive on ayahuasca and stuff like that, and they were showing some of the art of the people of that region that were on ayahuasca while doing the art and whatever. And so it was a lot of geometric things, and it had me in my geometric bag yesterday. And
Okay.
that was a lot of fun. Yo, just draw some fucking shapes. Something about that is very meditative. I see why they were doing it. Like, I
Think
don't
like the
know.
Mandalas, yeah, because I was like a Mandala, I think
Yeah,
is just like shapes and stuff. So it's yeah,
yeah,
it's
bro. I
like
was like, wow, this is great. They were onto something. I agree. I think there are a lot of conflicting narratives in Latino households. I think you can't be too skinny, you can't be too fat, but no one seems to know where the medium is. And it seems like the only agreed upon aesthetic in a Latino household is one that is achieved naturally by few, but manufactured by many others, which is that of the tiny waist, fat ass, and big breasts.
hmm.
Like, you have to have a fat ass, but you can't have no stomach. Girl, huh? Girl, what?
How? Like
That's very unattainable for most bodies, actually. Like that's not like natural for a lot of people. For a lot of people, that's just not how the body holds fat. Which, let's not be confused. Breast and ass, that's fat. Unless you are building it through muscle, but that most of us are our placements of fat aren't that kind to us.
yeah,
Let's be
no.
real. So yeah, so I agree. There's definitely like a conflicting narrative, like, and especially in okay, so with the question of what I saw and witnessed and heard a lot of growing up and how it affects me now. Everywhere we went, it was me and my sister. My sister would get, "You're too fucking skinny, eat some more," and I would get, like, you're a little chunky, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, and these are all the conflicting narratives. So those were the two conflicting narratives. So that already starts a little divide in your mind of like, what? There's a
Hmm.
divide, there's two sides. To further that divide, I would get praised for eating as much as I could. Like, I
Hmm.
remember my mom would like, kind of like brag a little bit that I could eat the same amount as a man, even though I was like only in the third grade, type shit. Excuse me. And so, like, I would get that, and then at the same time in school, I remember there was a time where I was getting low-key bullied about how chunky I was. And, I was also delusional, so I remember I got myself out of that by being like, I'm not fat, my belly's just big, and that ate the girlies up. Like, it was done after that.
Yeah.
But like, again, though, those were two different opposing narratives. I'm getting praised about how much I eat on one end, and the other end, it's resulting in a body that clearly isn't socially acceptable. Two opposing narratives once again. Fast forward, I'm chunky, but I'm also realizing my chunkiness wasn't in the right places. And I'd realize that because I've always had hip dips. And I would realize that it was a problem that I had hip dips, that I would get called like guli chupi, You know what that means?
No, I've never heard of that.
Gully choopy is Puerto Rican slang for like saggy ass or like boxy ass. Yeah. Yes. As a child, mind you, as a child, body not even close to being fully developed. And I'd hear that. Like it was never directed towards me, but it would be conversations about my body while I'm in the room and while I can hear you and understand. So I would hear that, so I'd be like, okay, so I have fat on my body, it's just not placed where y'all want it to be. So like again, all these like conflicting narratives. And then also like the person that told me to say what I said to those kids that got me out of being bullied was my mom. But at the same time, I'd see her talk about her body in the ways that I heard those kids talk about mine.
Mm,
So again, two opposing narratives. And mind you, me and my mom's body are very much alike in a lot of ways. Like in the same way that me and her face look damn near the same, our bodies look damn near the same. Like outside of the fact that she has vitiligo and a pacemaker and she's a mom of three. You know what I mean? But like still, even
yeah.
then, especially when I was younger, there was so much more similarities than there were differences. Like I would remember she talked about the way her thighs came together in the middle and how she hated it, and mine come together the exact same way. And I was like, well, I actually love mine, you know, type shit. So again, I'm getting these conflicting narratives because she's the one that told me you're not fat, but also she's calling herself fat. You know what I mean? And I'm being told to love my body, but also I see the way that she berates herself every time she's in front of a mirror. And any 2 seconds that she's just laying down for 2 seconds, I see her popping some crunches. Like, girl, like there was clearly a hyperfixation on her own body where I was being told in a way to not have that hyperfixation on my own body. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
yeah.
And so like again, all of these conflicting narratives, which I think result now in me having body dysmorphia. Body dysmorphia is quite literally not being able to see reality as it is. That's literally what it is. And I think that's because I always got conflicting narratives, so it made it hard for me to get a grasp on what the fuck reality. What was the truth? What was the actual
Yeah.
truth? Like, you know what I mean? And I was too young to understand the concept of like humans being paradoxical, of humans being like hypocritical, of I didn't duality. I didn't understand. I was too young to understand that concept. So I was getting these conditionings, these narratives without nuance. And so that created a divide in my own mind in the way that I see myself, to the point that there's a divide between reality and what I'm seeing. So I'm so far from it right now. And I guess the goal now is to combine the two so I can see
Yeah.
the full truth. And then in relation to like food, I also have an ED. It looked like a lot more severe when I was younger. It looked like real binging, like eating until I was like physically sick, like my stomach hurt from how full I was. Never eating like the right things either, but to eat for my feelings, to eat my feelings away, and then restricting really bad. And I think the worst restriction was probably when I was in high school, where I would calorie count, which I
Mm,
think is one of the most evilest things, to calorie count. And I remember I only allowed myself to have a certain amount of meals. They could only be portioned a certain amount of way. I remember Kimball and my mom like clocked me on it once. They're like, "Why are you using a measuring cup to get your food? Like, what is going on?" And I'm just like, "Calories, whatever, whatever." And they're not seeing it as a red flag, so they let me go about my day. And then while I was cutting down my calorie, I was in a deficit, as the girlies call it. I was also working out extremely hard that summer too, because I was doing our like off-season track training, and I'd work out super hard. It was dead of the summer. They'd have us running outside, and I wouldn't replace everything that I was burning off with proper meals because I was calorie counting and I was eating in a deficit, which I think affected my metabolism pretty bad the years that followed that.
mm,
Because the problem with eating in that way is that when you are in a deficit for too long and you're not restoring what you're using in energy, food is energy, your body thinks you're going in famine. Your body thinks there's a famine. Your body
yeah.
thinks that you will not get food for the foreseeable future. Thus, we need to hold on to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
We need to store this, which often results in fat in a storing of fat because of course I'm not actually in a famine. There's actually an abundance of food. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I start eating again the way I'm supposed to, my metabolism has slowed down because my body is thinking we're going to prepare for the next famine, which is so messed up. It's so messed up when you think about it. But yeah, that's the ways that kind of manifested. More recently, of course, there's been like integration, like integrating what I know to be true and like taking a hard look at my conditionings and where they came from and trying to approach from a more loving awareness place, from a place of like, grace and like compassion, forgiving myself when I, am still hard on myself, forgiving myself for when I am in my head like, girl, you kind of eating a lot, like, relax,
Mm-hmm.
or like, something like that. Or like when the luteal phase comes around, which is every fucking month, and I start to hold on a little bit more weight or bloating, and I
Mm-hmm.
hear those like narratives start up again. Having grace with myself because this shit doesn't happen overnight. It literally took, 20 years for me to get to this point, so it's gonna take probably, who knows how much longer to get out of it.
Right.
Um, so having grace, looking at it through different lenses, also taking in different perspectives, especially the ones that you were talking about, of like work out to feel good, work out to live long, work out to live healthy, work out to cater to the lifestyle you want to live, not to the body you want to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like you're saying, shit like that. And starting to also, like you're saying, be more intentional with my food. So, like, making it a point to pray over my food as I'm making it. Like, thank you to all the beings that made this possible. Like, taking a moment to really recognize the blessing and the abundance that is the meals that I get to eat and share with my loved ones. Helping to, like, change that relationship to my food from, like, a source of punishment and
Mm.
pain to, like, a source of, like, abundance and energy and love and transmutation and alchemy and all of the things. Um, yeah, that's kind of how that's manifested now. And I think the reason this is all coming back up for me is because of the whole Ozempic era. So, do you know what Ozempic is?
Yes, it's this drug that pretty much your brain, the cues of your hunger, it like stops it.
Hmm.
So you eventually don't, over time, you don't get as hungry as often. And what that results in is your stomach getting a lot smaller. Um, and yes, I'll leave it at that because that answers the question before I go down my own tangent on this damn drug.
So it originally started off as a drug to help diabetes. So
Yeah.
that's what it was, the manufacturing was about. And then of course, they gave it to people and that had diabetes. And they were like, wait, hold up, that people are losing weight. You know what I mean? Like without even meaning to, people are losing weight. Now, I know that's the main narrative around it is its ability to make you lose weight and cut hunger cues. The less talked about portion of it is that it not only stops people from overeating, it stops people from all forms of abuse. So it stops people from drinking, over consuming alcohol. It stops people were talking about they no longer had the urge to gamble. People said I'm on my phone less. People said like it stopped all of those like numbing, distracting tendencies, not just food. And that's been the most shocking like side effect of this
Yeah.
drug is that it's helping people to curb all forms of overconsumption, not just what we eat. And that led me down a little bit of a rabbit hole of like looking up what I could about it and hearing different perspectives because that's pretty fucking incredible.
I
The
mean,
fact that
yeah.
something was able to do that. You know what I mean? Like they were literally like, I'm no longer an alcoholic because of this type of shit. Like that's crazy. That's crazy. And I think one of the narratives that really struck me was like I think it was the Trevor Noah What Now podcast. They were talking about
Uh-huh.
this. And he was like, it's interesting because the conversation, and I'm paraphrasing, should be about how America has an overconsumption problem as a whole. Like the
Mm.
fact that people are taking this and realizing, like, oh, it stopped me from doing all these things. I'm not on social media all day. I'm not doing this all day. I'm not, the conversation should be around America realizing that it has a serious problem
Mm-hmm.
and not so much around why people are using this drug. And now I think that the conversation could be around both for sure because it's true like it is exposing a problem, a very real problem that the US has, but also I think there are real life implications to the body image portion of this because while I believe in your body your choice, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I also think that people who uphold harmful body image narratives or standards ultimately affect all women negatively. Period.
Yeah, I'm shocked about all the good stuff because I feel like the only perk about this Ozempic that I've heard is that people don't get like the sweet cravings, which like I think,
Hmm.
in that grand scheme, those are like the bad cravings. Like, come on, you can't eat something sweet or the overindulgence. Um,
Yeah.
so I've heard that part. I think to this little tidbit that you gave about that it's highlighting the overconsumption that the United States of America has, us Americans
Mhm.
have, I think is real. Now, I don't think that means that like we all need to get on some Ozempic kind of drug so that like we can stop our
Mhm.
consumption. I just think it's like a I don't know, it has to be a brain thing where you stop and you take that pause. Like obviously someone who's on the drug or on Ozempic may now be able to do that because
Mhm.
neurologically something has shifted. I think us on a regular day-to-day basis, I think it's kind of like how you were ending off how it felt for you, like that pausing of praying for your food, inviting some
Mhm.
sort of like pausing mindfulness of like, am I gonna feel good after eating this? How am I feeling actually? Do I need this chocolate cake? Is this just to like slap a band-aid on so I feel better? It's that part, but even on the grand scheme without food, like media, you be on the train, you be quick to see people like, I'm free, and then they're like, okay, actually, I don't want to look at nobody. I'm bored. I need to look at something. It's like that,
Yeah.
like taking that pause, but I think now what I'm getting more curious at, and I don't think it can be either or of like a male or a female who's consuming Ozempic more because I think both genders have this like catered picture perfect of what your body is supposed to look like due to
Mhm.
media. So I think it must be equally of who is using it more so, but I think as women, I think honestly, sadly to say, I think we're affected a little bit more by it because I think media is constantly feeding us of like what we need to look like, how our body should be shaped, just again for like a male's gaze or the gaze of the others in the world. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Because
What?
I just think personally, like there's the good, but
Mhm.
I think there's also the side effect that I've heard that this drug gives you is that once you can't kind of come off of it entirely. And I think
Mhm.
that's what a lot of people aren't aware of. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna start this. I'm gonna get to my ideal like weight that I want to be, and then I'll be
Mhm.
like good. And it's like,
And
unfortunately, no, you can't do that. Like once you're on
yeah,
this, you're on this. I think
for
one of the
life.
side effects I've heard for life, literally, one of the side
Yeah.
effects I've heard is that once you do come off it, you become a diabetic. So
Mm.
it gives you what you at first it was intended to block, you end up becoming
Yeah.
because of how
Oh
bad it
wow.
fucks up your stomach and everything else in your like mid organ area. So no one's talking about that. Two,
Yeah.
I think it's also the fact that like why have we become such a society that it wants such a quick fix, a quick pill solution? Yes, I'm aware that we are driven by the big pharma company. Everybody wants something to
Mhm.
take and that everything's magically gone. But it's
Mhm.
like, do you feel good though afterwards? Because the other side effect is you lose a significant amount of muscle. Your bones start to just become like shrivels. So what are the pros and cons here? You've lost 6 pounds of fat on your stomach. You look so skinny, but you quite literally feel like shit on the internal level. Like your
Mhm.
muscles and your bones are gone. You're 32 years old, but you're acting like you're 75.
Mhm.
So like I don't like it just flabbergastes me that people cannot or do not or don't have the urge or desire to be like, you know what? I'm gonna go take a 20-minute walk today. I'm not even telling y'all
Mm.
to sign up for a gym membership. You feel me? Like I'm not even telling y'all to do
Facts.
that. Just go take a
Facts.
walk. Just go take a
Facts.
walk. You got the 30-minute break? Step outside. Go take a walk. Like do something.
Facts. And
Because
also like that touches on too like I know how there was a little moment where everyone seemed to be doing 11-mile runs on TikToks and whatever the fuck. Like also what Deja's saying, just go take a walk doesn't mean go the first time you ever fucking walk, do a 3 mile, 3 hour walk, whatever the fuck. No, literally just go take a walk means like go for a stroll, babe. You don't have to do the most on your first day. That ends up deterring a lot of people from returning because you do
yes.
the most on your first day. Like ease into it, and then you find what you
Yes.
like, find what feels good. Period.
That's it. And I think that's the one thing that bothers me. a lot because it's like I know damn well most people got animals and pets. Like you can go take your little doggy for a walk. Like you can do all these beautiful things. We all get 30-minute breaks. Like you can walk down your if you work up in a corporate building, you feel me? Like do a lap or so. Like I don't know. I think there's more ways of being proactive, but I just think unfortunately what this is showing us is that we live in a society that wants quick fixes, that still wants to be able to say that I can indulge in the things that I am consuming now, but since I'm not going to get as hungry as often and I eat smaller portions, it's still okay to consume X, Y, and Z.
Mm, hmm I agree, and I think you're definitely on track with the conversation of like this is just exposing a larger problem in the US. I think
Yeah,
that's fact. I think it is absolutely exposing a larger problem in the US. And of course, what they were talking about was like the overconsumption as a whole, and what you're talking about is our lack of motivation to do something that's better for ourselves if it doesn't also come with instant gratification. Like
literally.
the ability to have delayed gratification and how that's actually beneficial to us, and the beauty of kind of struggling through it a little bit, like, doing that walk even though it's uncomfortable, or doing this thing even though it's uncomfortable, like putting down your phone in the MBTA, which is uncomfortable. I can attest to that.
Yeah.
Um but like doing it for your greatest good, doing it for long-term progress, doing it for your most healthiest self, and realizing that a lot of people just don't have that drive because of the ways that we've been kind of like, I want to say something that's not conditioned, but I can't think of the word. But yeah, conditioned, but like the ways that we've been like pacified, I guess, through the systems and through the conditionings. Like we've been kind of babied, and so now we have no resilience for the things that actually make us feel good. Because it's like, you want your delivery right now, we'll get it right now. Don't worry about it. You don't even
Literally.
have to cook the meal. Like we'll get it to you right now. Like that type of thing. And so now we have no resilience for the shit that actually needs resilience, but also has a big reward if you stick to it, like walking, running, reading, socializing, etc. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I definitely think there's so many conversations to be had about the Ozempic thing. Also, like, what scared me the most was how many people, mostly, were quick to jump on it just for the promise of a certain body without knowing the long-term effects, which, of course, will continue to come out as they do more testing. That's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
you basically said, here's my literal life so I could look like the body image issues. And I'm not saying that's crazy because, like, the people that did it, I'm saying that's crazy because how badly people want to conform and look like a certain way for this culture, for this society, because of our conditionings, because of shaming, because of standards, etc., and because of the promised rewards if you do conform, if you do look a certain way. Like, that pull, that drive is so strong that you're willing to literally take a drug that you have no idea how it's going to affect you in your body in the long term, or if you could even just, if you could die on it. Let's be for real. But that's how strong it is. Like, that's how strong the pull, the drive is to look a certain way, to be a certain way, to take up a certain shape, so that you can get some validation, so you can get the rewards and the promises. Like, that's sad. That's sad. That is.
Yes.
And it's funny because on TikTok they're always dystopian society this, dystopian that. Babe, we're in it. What are you talking about? They keep talking about it as if this is some future thing. People on drugs to look a certain way. They're literally giving, like you were saying, their bone away for this shit. They're giving their health away for this shit. They're giving their vitality away for this shit. Fires took up about Boston size amount of LA, just
Mhm.
completely up in flames. We got a fascist regime. We have a guy who wants to literally take away our constitution. Like, the dystopian is now, Bookie Bear. Like, stop talking about it like it's in the future. But now that we come to terms with that shit, we can actually do something about it. It's not like this woe is me, like woo woo woo. No, it's not that. It's
No.
okay, we see it, we see the truth, we see the reality. Let's do something about it. Let's get on it popping. Today, I'm asking that you start with being kinder with yourself around your relationship to your body and your food. Go in your mirror, stand there for 12 minutes butt ass naked, and just affirm yourself. Even if it feels phony, even if it feels gross, even if it feels like a lie, do it. I'm talking about make yourself a meal full of love. Pray over that food, love that food, nourish that food, give gratitude over that food, and eat it with deep breaths and without the TV, and just
Mm.
husa, and like in a deep communion with that food or whoever you're eating with. Start with the small things. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to fix the whole world and cure all of the things right now. Like, we can start with baby steps. But it's
Literally
about
though.
starting.
That's the part, starting and like just staying with it and knowing that you're not going to get an instant gratification at the end of it. Like, I think if
Facts.
that's the system that one needs, I think it's like okay, 2 weeks, I go to the gym, I stick with it. By the third week, I buy myself a new set, a new gym set, or I take myself out to this cute little restaurant. Like, if you need a reward, like a physical something, do
You
it.
can start
Adopt
there. Yeah.
something. That's what I'm saying. Like, I
Yeah.
think it's a matter of stepping away from mainstream media of like what is considered ideal and make getting more raw with yourself of like what is good, what's you, like what your idea of a body image is, what feels good to you, what you need. I think that's the most important. Like, all I'm saying after our little tangent and our personal opinions, y'all, I think the only thing that I can ask for anybody and that I try to remind myself every day is just to give myself grace. Is that this is a process
Mm,
and that choosing your health and your well-being is the greatest thing that you can have in your lifetime of living as you age. That's the most priority. Like top tier anything. Like I want to make sure I'm good from inside mentally to my gut to like everything. Because I still want to be able to
yeah.
walk when I'm 60, 75. You feel me? So
Yeah.
I think that's all I want anybody to do is take care of themselves, fall back in love with yourself. Like I think the journey itself, I think is that like just falling back in love with yourself, getting to know yourself, like look at yourself in the mirror if you want. Like if that's too much, I don't know. Maybe just look at your hand and then take it body part by body part. But like I
Facts.
I think it's a process within itself and I don't have all the answers because clearly when I shared my little tidbit, I'm still
Mm,
in this process myself. You feel me? But I
mhm.
think nothing's gonna fix it quick. I know that. Like I know
Yeah.
nothing's gonna quick fix. It's a journey. And I'm here for the long ride.
I agree. Yo, yes, that is our conversation. That is what we have for y'all today. Conversation about our journey with food, with eating, with our body image, and a little light brushing over the Ozempic epidemic, I don't know, whatever.
I don't know what to call it, but I know it's something, and I don't know if it's gonna get good or put a pause on because there's still a whole lot of stuff going on, and I'm not a medic. But
Yeah.
listen, Mass Health ain't trying to supply y'all with this stuff no more. Okay, so I think if Mass Health ain't even trying to do it, and now they're trying to come up and create synthetic versions that y'all can actually afford, no bueno.
No bueno. No
Mm-mm.
bueno. And yeah, you heard it here first, folks. I hope you guys got something from this episode, even if it's just entertainment. Hey, we're back, season two.
Yes.
We're going with our weekly Friday uploads. And if you ever see that we missed a week, mind your business. You don't know me.
Yeah,
Uh,
don't confess.
like you don't know what I got going on, but we'll see you guys for episode two, hopefully next Friday. Make sure you guys drop a comment below, like, follow, share, subscribe, all of the things. All of
Do
the
all the
things.
things.
And if TikTok does go away, it's okay. We'll still be on Spotify. We'll still be on YouTube. We still have our personal or podcast Instagram down below. Even if our podcast account on TikTok goes away, you can catch our personal socials. I'll put those in the description down below too, so you can see what we'll be up to. And stay tuned for episode 2 or 3. I can't remember because we have something possibly fun for you guys
Yes.
if we can make it work, which I'm actually really excited about. And yeah, thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.